Did a famous podcaster lose his job for assaulting a woman?
I was getting so much fucking hate from people who had no idea what they were talking about.
A little background. Ben was born in 1981 in North Dakota. He was raised in the Daystar Church cult with his family until they moved to Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Around age 12, his parents began taking emergency foster placements. In 2006, Ben moved to Brooklyn to start a career in comedy. He co-hosted a show called KBBK Comedy Deathmatch with the late comedian Kevin Burnett. That's where he met the other members of the Last Podcast Network. Together, they created podcasts like Roundtable of Gentlemen, Abe Lincoln's Top Hat, and finally, The Last Podcast on the Left, which launched March 29, 2011. Each host had a unique role on the show. Marcus was mostly the researcher. He would read the scripts, keep the episodes on track, and make sure the stories flowed. Henry helped with research sometimes, but mostly he was the guy cracking jokes and doing impressions of the people that they were covering. And Ben, he seemed to serve as the audience surrogate, asking questions and making dumb dad jokes. The everyman.
Just trying to saw my hand off here so I can escape from Fat Jigsaw!
The podcast was remarkable. It not only brought the underground network, Cave Comedy Radio, into the spotlight, but it also scored an exclusive deal with Spotify. It led to Cave Comedy Radio renaming their podcast network The Last Podcast Network after their flagship show. Once the podcast got big, they started live shows worldwide around 2016. But listening to the show now, something feels different. One of the trio is missing. Ben Kissel is gone. After 12 years and over 500 episodes, he had vanished. In a September 2023 episode of Side Stories, a mini podcast usually hosted by Henry and Ben, now had Marcus there instead of Ben. The two of them mentioned that Ben was on a sabbatical to focus on his mental and physical health. And it was announced via Instagram on October 4th, 2023, that Ben had departed not only from the show, but from the network as a whole. And in the following episode, Ed Larson filled in as a guest host. He stayed on as a guest host until he was officially credited as a co-host on October 6, 2023.
And the only
You get cut or we fire you.
Yeah.
That's fine. I mean, the replacements are Jackie, Holden, Eddie.
Ooh.
Along with removing Ben, the natural flow of the episodes changed. The new trio now had to fake excitement to overcompensate for the huge shift in the programming. The thumbnail for the podcast used to have all three hosts, but after 400 episodes, it switched to a spooky skull. They even changed the pitch of Ben's line in the intro song so you couldn't recognize him.
What was that? What was that?
Other podcasts that Ben used to host, like Abe Lincoln's Top Hat and the Roundtable of Gentlemen, were removed from the network's archives. They had effectively erased him. But why did this happen? After a live show in Las Vegas, the three hosts and their partners planned to go to dinner. But Ben's then-girlfriend Taylor Moon chose to stay behind in the hotel. Hours later, Ben returned intoxicated and started arguing with her. He allegedly pinned her against the bed and pushed his forehead to hers while yelling at her in the face. Moon mentioned the assault on a 44-minute-long stream she did, in which she never mentioned him by name, but heavily implied it was him. She later confirmed on the Friends with Davey podcast that it was indeed Ben Kissel who had assaulted her. People in his social circles, along with women he had dated, say his issues stem from alcohol addiction. And this wasn't the first time he was accused of something similar. Comedian Sarah Beninaski said that back in 2011, when she and Ben were casually hooking up, she told him that she was also sleeping with another comedian, and he allegedly hit her in the face. Ben admits to using alcohol to cope with a traumatic childhood, but he denies that these events ever happened.
But did you see his final concert where he
was
pours
upset.
beer all over the front row?
Yes,
and
because he was an alcoholic who was going through extreme stress and turmoil internally, wanted to externalize that stress externally on his audience because he blamed his audience for all of his success, which then he ended up hating because it turns out fame's a fucking waking nightmare.
After Taylor Moon came forward with the allegations, Ben went to rehab at Ventures Ventura for alcohol addiction. That's where he says he found out that he had been let go from the network.
I had a phone call, and after that phone call, I knew that my future was going to be changed both professionally and personally for the forever.
In July 2024, he returned with a new podcast, Ben's Political Show, which lasted 3 months, ending mid-September 2024. He then launched the Ben Kissel Channel, a news of the week style podcast with co-host Kyle Plouffe. It lasted until December 12, 2024, then rebranded as the OK Bud Podcast, which currently has 46 episodes and hasn't posted in at least a month. Ben is clearly putting everything into OK Bud, advertising it on his website and changing his YouTube channel to the name OK Bud. But it doesn't seem to have the same energy as the last podcast. In my opinion, he always worked better as a co-host. His unique voice broke up the monotony, and as the main focus, it doesn't work as well.
And this is a good reason to kick somebody out of a group,
It's
not
a
for
pretty
like
solid
frivolous
reason.
bullshit reasons because
Yeah.
you fucking, married psychopath.
Well, that's all we have for now on this topic. Please leave a like and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.